Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Expert, the show where we discuss the latest cryptocurrency news and introduce you to the pioneers and the founders of the space. Today, I'm very kindly joined by the Shaga team. We're going to go over why Shaga is revolutionizing the gaming world on blockchain. Guys, thank you for coming. How are we doing?
Amazing. How you doing, man? Excited.
Good to see you.
Likewise.
Nice, guys. And where are we coming from today?
I'm coming from Italy.
And I'm over in the States in Baltimore, Maryland.
Awesome, amazing. And before we get into Shaga, before we go into some details on the project, I want to hear a bit more about your background and your own journey into to Web3. So, Uncle G, we'll start with you. How did you get into this crazy industry?
Yeah, I'm European, and after the 2009 financial crisis, there was a bit of resentment towards the financial elite. So in the beginning, crypto was all about where the Genesis block in Bitcoin, chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks. So it was kind of like a teenage anarchist movement at the beginning. So yeah, I was attracted by the rebellious nature of it. But later on, when Ethereum came into the space, there was more of we don't need to destroy everything. We can actually build stuff that is useful, like programmable money over the internet. It enables the possibility to have so many applications. So that was a bit more a regenerative phase. So yeah, and I'm a computer science and electrical engineer, so I was always interested in the actual technology that enables all of this. And I would say my journey started with Ethereum. I was a bit of an Ethereum maximalist at the beginning. But then when Solana came, I was reading about Qualcomm engineers building a blockchain, and I know that Qualcomm builds really great stuff. So I was let's pay attention. And yeah, honestly, the tipping point for me was I didn't really believe that. Imagine 100 years in the future, you're gonna have a Raspberry Pi and you're gonna sync the blockchain from the Genesis block. I was not a believer into that. I thought that hardware should scale with Moore's law and everything. So Solana sounded very natural as the next evolutionary step. So yeah, I realized that the design space was opening up immensely, and I was you know what, let's build something here. And regarding Shaga, I was a pretty lazy gamer. I don't like to play on my desk with keyboard and mouse. I'm more of couch gamer. So I was familiar with self-hosted game streaming solutions like Moonlight and Sunshine, and basically you have your own gaming PC and you stream to your device. And I was it sounds pretty inevitable that the future of cloud gaming is distributed and peer-to-peer, and it follows some sort of sharing economy model, kind of like Uber, because it's all about resource optimization. A lot of people have gaming PCs, but they are idle, they're not being used, and a lot of people want to play games, but they don't want to buy gaming PCs and stuff like that. So I was yeah, let's take these axioms, and speed of light is the ultimate constraint in the universe. The only way to reduce latency is to reduce distance, and we have this new coordination mechanism that is enabled by blockchains. So that's where the journey started. And basically I went all in the Hyperdrive hackathon in September 23. And yeah, I locked myself in a room for 1 month. I shipped the client, the server, the networking stack, the Solana stuff, and after that, this where both me and Deshaun were survivors of the FTX fallout in Solana.
Oh wow.
yeah, there was a lot of trauma bonding there, and
So you were in Solana pre FTX collapse, and you've stuck at it throughout. That's remarkable to see, guys. And fair play. It's played off. You saw the opportunity. Why? One of my questions is, you said you were an Ethereum maxi. You've mentioned some points that drew you over to Solana, but why do you think Solana will be the base of gaming on blockchain?
I think ultimately you want something that is a global layer for like intellectual property and like access right to content, and like you kind of want like high level guarantees on that. So like the things that we've been seeing with like zk compression, like with light protocol, are extremely interesting because like they allow you to have these proofs that you own like certain piece of content, and it's very lightweight in terms of like storage costs, because like you're basically just posting the proof, like the hash of the entire thing that you are proving. So that paired with like more localized environments, like sometimes they're called like network extensions, sometimes they're called like layer twos. Like I think at the end of the day, like if you have a fully on-chain game, like you definitely don't want to run that on Solana mainnet as a global layer one, because like
Yeah.
do you really need like 3,000 validators, or whatever the number is right now for a game? So like that, I think it's going to be more like localized, and we're starting to see like roll-ups from like Magic Blocks, Sonic. So that's where I see like the access right living on layer one, while like all the execution for like the game states, like they can live on rollups and like not like taint the state.
Brilliant, man. Thank you for that. And Deshaun, I'll ask you the same question. What was your experience and what was your journey into Web3?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back a little bit further to give context before I get into that. I never saw myself as a technologist in any capacity. So I think in about 2007, 2008, curiosity has always been probably one of my biggest strengths. And the thing with that was in high school at that time, I remember walking into this, I was walking by this room, and I kind of peeked inside before I walked past it. And it was just dark. There were people like heads down on these computers and keyboards. I'm like, what is that? I never saw these guys. I walked in, I just said, hey, like, what are you guys doing in here? And they were like, oh, yeah, we're programming. I was like, what is that? HTML, CSS. I was like, no idea. It all sounded like a cult, but it looked cool. So I just joined right in, and next thing I know, I was a part of the class, and I got exposed to so many things. Programming,
Nice.
distributed systems, the whole LimeWire torrent era was just like super cool to grow up with at that time. And then from there, I really got more into technology by the way of like university. We don't come from much, my family and I. My dad's a barber, my mom's a nurse, but we've made a way. And man, it's been super cool to just be able to leverage, you know, relationships and curiosity and, just this passion for things that come our way, to just like go out there and pave a path for ourselves. I think that's one of the biggest things in my family that we are proud of. But anyway, I got a full ride to university. It was academics, and with that, I got a internship with Microsoft, and then through that, it just was like technology is it, you know. And during that time in like 2011 in college, I came across Bitcoin. I saw it on the news, and I was like,
Wow.
interesting. And
Early, yeah.
yeah, so I always kept my eye on that throughout the years. And then like kind of fast forward, I remember one day my dad was like, oh yeah, you should make an NFT. And this was around the time that I was just like itching for a new challenge. I was in nonprofits. Before that, I was in startups and all this.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds really cool. Let me look into it. So that's when I got introduced to like hash lips and all this other stuff. And during that time, I came across this DAO called Developer DAO. It was one of the larger DAOs in the Ethereum space. So that was also where I got my start, and I became a core contributor there. And for those of you who don't know, Developer DAO was started by Nader Debit. If you're in the Web3 Twitter sphere, you'll probably see him tweeting in. He was a part of what is it, Lens Protocol and all this other cool stuff. And so through that, I got to work with some really cool people, people from Ethereum Foundation, people from Polygon, people from Coinbase, et cetera, et cetera. And I got to work with a bunch of developers all around the world. And through that experience actually gave me the opportunity to get recruited by Metaplex. They're the NFT creators, the NFT standard creators over in the Solana ecosystem. And I was like, oh, this is really cool, because I've been looking into Solana a little bit, and that journey was amazing. I got hired there, and with that, I got to lead the developer experience team as the product lead there. And so what I was overseeing was like all this cool technology to help developers create NFT experiences on Solana. So
Nice.
SDKs, the technical documentation, any new game or project that would come into the space, the Solana team would actually introduce them to me, and I would help them like get in and navigate the space from there. So it was a really cool setup to just go from like this curious, state, and kind of like my dad like prompting me on one part of just like, hey, you should make an NFT, to like this. And then, following that, FTX and all that stuff like that. I remember seeing, Guido on the timeline by the way of Jonas. He's over at the Solana Foundation, and he was working on their like gaming initiative side, and he like tweeted out his Guido's progress on the hackathon. And I was like, oh, this is like cloud game. This is sick as, like this is cool as heck. And so I reached out, was really impressed. And one of the things that I did, I remember being in this very room. I wrote like a 15-page document or something, and I just sent it to her. I was like, yo, like this is just like, I just want to see you succeed. And we got connected from there, and it was just like this really cool vibe. And I didn't expect anything in return. I just wanted to give him that and just like, keep watching from the sidelines. And he reached out. He was like, hey, like we should do this together. And I was like, man, I was humbled. I was honored, and we just been rocking together ever since. So it's been a crazy journey to get into Web3, and it's been a beautiful story to like build something from nothing to what it is today with him and the rest of the team.
No, it's amazing to hear. You guys have really been in the trenches, been with Solana ever since, when a lot of people turned their back on Solana. So it's amazing to see. I know a lot of the audience are big Solana fans. Myself, I go to a lot of the events, a lot of the hackathons, which Guido mentioned as well, where, so much talent is being produced there. But, you've given an explanation to, your journey into Web3, and how you got to meet each other. But what inspired Shaga, and how do you see it disrupting the gaming world within Web3?
Yeah, I think like I kind of got obsessed about, like, as I mentioned before, like the inevitability of like the solution itself. Like my thinking was cloud gaming is going to work, and the only way that it's going to work is if latency is solved, and the only way to solve latency is to reduce the distance. So like working backward from that I took as like a given truth, like an axiom. I worked back from there, and I was like, okay, so like people have gaming PCs, they're not using that. Like I was in university, and like I wish I could have bought like one of those fancy, like back then it was 2080 GTX like desktops, but I was always in uni, like I was never using that. So like even if I had the money, it would have been a waste. But like, what if I could have bought that thing and then rent it out locally to like serve gamers in my area? Like when I'm away from home, I make passive income, and like that is where like the DeepIn narrative like started to form, like the ability for people that are like part of this amazing world to participate in these decentralized economies where like they can become like stakeholders, they can become like producers and like maintainers of a community owned like utility network. It was pioneered by Helium, but like the same mechanism of like you make money if you have a hotspot and the hotspot is actually like serving people, so you need to place it in place where there are a lot of people trafficking, and you need to make sure that that stays online. Like if the hotspot goes offline, then you're not making money because you're not providing a service. So all of that stuff was like really resonating, and I was like, you know what, like you got to be a little mad, like you got to be a little crazy for these things. Like we're really at the frontier of like the future, so like you have to take the leap of faith of saying like fuck it, like let's build it. And yeah.
Awesome, man. And Dejan, who does Shaga benefit? What have you, what have you set out to benefit? Is it the people with, limited hardware? Who do you think will make the most of Shaga?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we look at it from a couple of angles, right? So ultimately, Shaga is replacing the foundation of gaming it is today, in terms of like distributed systems and people being able to have access to more compute to be able to play these games. And ultimately, one of the coolest things that we are introducing into the world is the ability to just like offset these data centers and get rid of this legacy paradigm of data centers to individuals to have them be able to play these games. We're now giving that power back to the gamer. So if you have a gaming PC, if you've invested in your hobby, now we've given you the ability to take that gaming PC and be able to earn passive income off of that and serve up in your local community that same power that a data center is capable of. But this time we're giving it back to the gaming community instead of it going to a multi-billion-dollar corporation, right? And then on the other side, just as you said it, the people who don't really have access to these gaming services or just their general power to play the latest and greatest game can tap into their neighbor's compute, and a better latency, a better visual fidelity is the result of that, based on our thesis of a closer proximity from the gamer to the actual source of this compute, right? For them to be able to play this service, and not a data center that might be 50, 100, 200 miles away, and they're having a terrible experience. And so with those two, we really feel like gamers at the end of the day are going to benefit from the most of Shaga. And then there's a tertiary benefit as well, right? We see a lot of developers who are trying to, especially in the Web3, gaming vertical, who are trying to just like get this distribution and get their game out there, right? But they're facing a lot of pushback and red tape from legacy providers and distributors. You can't have a Web3 game on Steam or Epic Games or PlayStation and Xbox, right? Like they have to do all these convoluted things to put their game in front of an individual. And then on top of that, even with like GeForce Now, blah, 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 they're facing in the background these sort of issues as to where they're not able to deliver the game the way that they intended it to be delivered. And it's super frustrating for developers. So for us, we give the ability to not only give your game and stream it to a wider audience who doesn't have a like powerful beefy gaming PC, but we're also allowing these developers to go out there and distribute the game the way that they intended, whether it has this Web3 enabled technology or not, right? We're super proud of being able to serve up any Web3 game or any Web2 game. And yeah, that's my answer to your question.
Awesome, Dejan. I appreciate that. And you mentioned it there, and I briefly shown it on screen, but I quickly went up. But you guys have been developing a serious bit of hardware. When I first saw this, I was like, what in the SpaceX is this? But the Odyssey controller. If we could, have a bit more details about this, and there's also some really cool features of this controller. When can people get their hands on it? And what was the idea behind it?
Yeah, like Shaga is all about streaming games. Like, and when we were thinking about like early on, biggest game on Solana is like Star Atlas, and like ever since the beginning, like that was an inspiration because their game is very computationally demanding, and we were like, like the thing that we're building, like it could actually help like people in your community to get access to the game where they don't have the hardware to like
Yeah.
enjoy something like that. So you can stream Star Atlas to a phone, a tablet, a laptop, whatever. But what happens when you try to stream Star Atlas to a television? Because like if we want to bring like Web3 gaming mainstream, like some people play on a television, and like the majority of the like televisions, they don't have a hardware wallet. So like some companies have been trying to use like the phone as an intermediate relay between like the game, the wallet, and the screen where you see the game. But for us, like, on our team, like we have Aaron. He was like he's a gaming industry veteran, and most recently he was at Epic Games, bringing like Unreal Engine Fortnite editor to the cloud, like AWS and Azure and GCP. So talking with him, like in his past, like he had worked on controllers, like he licensed the controllers to like Nintendo, Logitech, and Nerf. So like he was pretty experienced with that. And the thing that like the thesis there was that like if you look at the current things going on with the latest generation of PlayStation and Xbox, like there are versions of the consoles that don't have the disc reader anymore. Like we're moving completely to the cloud distribution era where like you no longer go and buy the disc at a place, but you're always like downloading from the internet like the entire files. And if you extrapolate that like that trajectory into the future, like at the end of the day, what is it that you need to play a game? Like you need some peripheral where you are sending inputs like jump, move, left, right, like can be a keyboard, tablet, but for most people, like it's a controller, like it's pretty like comfy. And then you need a screen to actually have the feedback loop of like your eyes see the screen, and then your brain computes like, oh, what am I gonna do? Like a jump, move left, move right, and you communicate that. Like the entire stack where like the game is running and it's been rendered, like that can be like outsourced to the edge network, like to the cloud, to the edge, depending on like how you want to call that. So the thesis around Odyssey is that like in the future, like the console of the future is actually just a gamepad, because like in the hardware wallet you have like access with your keys to all the content that you have, like the thing that we talked about before, like you have the layer one where like the authorization to access content is like saved and stored, and like wherever you go you bring the Odyssey, like the controller, with you, and like you have the keys to your content. So any kind of television that you find, like if there is the Shaga client application on the television, like very quickly you link your controller to the TV and you start to play like all your library, like you bring that with you. And like it's kind of like effortless migration between like when you want to play on a TV, and then when you want to play on a laptop, when you want to play on a phone. Because like if you have to bring over like your entire wallet, you're gonna need to have to migrate like the seed phrases and like all of that. But like if the peripheral itself is hosting like the keys, like you never have to migrate the keys, like they are always there. And what you are migrating is actually like the link between the controller, the keys, and the like the screen that you're using at that particular time. So like whether it's a television, a phone, a tablet, like it doesn't matter. Like what matters at the end of the day is that you have the internet, like the bandwidth to like receive the content from the edge, and then you have the keys that authorize you to actually access that content. So it's kind of like this bet where like it's kind of been validated. Like we've seen some stuff with the SUI thing. The main thinking that we have is that like why would you want to add a screen to the thing itself? Because like everyone has a phone nowadays. So like if you scroll down in the Odyssey, like there are two modes. Like this current one that we're seeing is like when you're playing like on a iPad or a laptop or a TV. But then you can actually have your phone in the middle and here. If you, I think, exactly.
brilliant.
We have
Wow.
the animation here. So you actually like have this hybrid device that can turn your phone into a Switch if you wish. Like we believe that that's a better approach. Like and yeah, I mean we've been working with like some really talented people that were working with Logitech gaming before. So like are really proud of the design. Like and we had some physical models and like the way it feels like it's pretty cool. Like the device itself is inspired by the Xbox Elite controller. So if people are wondering like how does it feel, like it's kind of like an Xbox Elite. But yeah, like this is pretty much like the origin story and like the reasons why we did this.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Just one fun fact, when he was talking about the Inspire, they're actually some of the same materials from the Xbox Elite controller that'll be found on this device. It's an amazing feel, and we're super proud of it. Yeah, 100%.
Amazing, and I can see on the website now that pre-orders are available. Are there any upcoming? Is there beta testing currently? How can people get involved?
Yeah. So
Definitely.
just really quickly on the Odyssey and then like beta testing. So we've also been able to partner with a lot of cool games that we've been working with. So there are some discount codes available out there. So if you can find those, you can get a discount on the Odyssey. And I think one of the underrated features of the Odyssey is not only like the ability to transform it into this device that can adhere to any situation, mobile, on the couch, iPad, blah, blah, blah. But there's actually the notion of free cloud gaming that comes with the controller itself. So with that, you might want to take a look at the website, whoever's watching this, and see what you can uncover from that. Pretty good deal that we have there. So following that, we actually have for Odyssey holders early access to our upcoming beta. And with that, it's going to be the first time that we put our UI and UX out there into the world, and we're getting feedback on that. So what you can do as a user or as an Odyssey holder in that first cohort is come into our Discord, verify your Odyssey NFT, and we'll be giving out a link and instructions on how to get those applications, download them, and get into that early. We call it the Pioneer Program, to be able to give that test, that feedback, and experience this cloud gaming new paradigm shift that we're introducing to the world. And with that, there's going to be some cool stuff involved with it. So we're looking to do that, pretty soon here. And when I say soon, I see it's pretty soon. So yeah.
Amazing. And for anyone looking for the links, all the links are in the description below. You will find all the links to the website and their Twitter page as well. Where's the best place to join the community? Is it the Discord, the Telegram? Where's the best place for that?
Yeah, Discord is definitely the best place. You can find it in our links, just as you said. And with that, you come in, join the community. We're evolving it every day. So you're going to be able to do some cool things in there. And the other thing too, is that's probably going to be the first place to where you see some of the latest updates. And also with our current points program that we have running, if you've seen the glob meme that we've been kind of just like putting out there, and it's become like the rallying call for our community, that's where you can earn these points called glob within the community and see those quests coming up first. And then with that, there might be some special things that will be exclusive to the Discord community only. So we're working on a way to really incentivize and reward the people who show up, participate, and join us on this crazy journey to change cloud gaming.
Amazing. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. I urge everyone to go give them a follow on Twitter, join their Discord. I would also welcome you guys back on in the future as well, because we've only just touched the surface of what you guys are building and providing for the Web3 community there. So thank you for your time. And guys, make sure to like this video, make sure to give them a follow, and I will see you tomorrow. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Good job,
Let's
everyone.
go.